Imagine a hot spark flying from a welding torch onto a wet spot on the ground. In a refinery or chemical plants, that wet spot could be fuel vapor. Hot work, any task like welding, cutting, grinding, brazing, or torch burning, creates flames, sparks, or heat that can easily ignite flammable chemicals. Hot work is one of the leading causes of fire and explosion in process industries. For example, a 2001 incident at a Motiva refinery in Delaware City shows the danger. Welders atop a crude sulfuric acid tank ignited vapor, causing an explosion that killed one worker and injured eight. To prevent such disaster, OSHA's Process Safety Management or PSM standard requires a strict hot work permit program under 29 CFR 1910.119K. The hook is simple. A stray spark near a fuel line or a storage tank can cost lives and shut down an entire plant. We open with this stark trial to capture attention and underscore why hot work is so dangerous in refinery and petrochemical industries. Hot work refers to any operation involving open flames, sparks, or high heat. This includes welding, cutting, brazing, soldering, torch cutting, and even grinding or powder coating, as well as activities like burnishing or guarding with heat. Essentially, if the job produces a spark or flame, it's hot work. In a plant with flammable gases, liquid or dust, even the smallest spark can ignite vapors or residue. OSHA and safety experts warn that hot work is a common source of deadly fire and explosion in workplaces that handle fuels and chemicals. Think of a refinery like a giant fuel storage puzzle, pipes, tanks, and units all holding or processing flammable material. Performing hot work in any part of this puzzle, even near a pipe carrying gasoline, is dangerous. The job of the hot work permit is to make sure we recognize those hazards and control them before the work begins. A hot work permit is basically a written permission slip that allows a hot work to proceed only after key safety checks are done. Its purpose is to make sure that all fire prevention measures are in place and documented before welding, cutting, or similar operations start. The permit typically lists what work will be done, where and when, and confirm that the area has been made safe. For example, combustibles have been cleared or shielded, and a fire extinguisher and trained fire watcher are ready. It's not just a formality. It enforces a checklist of precautions and communicates responsibilities. In practice, the permit is issued by an authorized person, often a supervisor or safety officer, who inspects the work site. It must be signed by that issuer and by the person doing the hard work, so everyone agrees on the condition. Crucially, the permit says, yes, we have met OSHA's fire protection rules before lighting the torch. Under OSHA's PSM standard, hot work permits are mandatory for any hot work on or near a covered process. A covered process means any production or handling of chemicals at or above certain quantities, for example, hydrocarbons in a refinery unit. In short, if the work is in or around equipment or piping that could release hazardous chemicals, you need a permit. The rule spells out the permit detail. Specifically, OSHA states that the employer shall issue a hot work permit for a hot work operations conducted on or near a covered process. The permit must document that The fire prevention and protection requirements of OSHA have been implemented. It must list the authorized date and the time and identify exactly what object or equipment will be worked on. Finally, the permit must be kept on file until the hard work is complete. To break that down, when required, any hot work done on or near processes handling flammable or highly hazardous chemical. This includes equipment shutdown, turnaround, or even contractor job in those areas. About fire prevention, before work starts, all 19 10.252A safety measures must be applied. OSHA's welding standards says, for example, that combustible must be moved or protected, floors swept, gas tested done, and fire extinguisher and a fire watch arranged. For permit content, the permit must show the date authorized, the exact location or object, and a checklist or declaration that fire safety steps are done. About responsibility to issue, the employer is responsible to issue it, often delegated to a supervisor or safety person. But for retention, permits stay active on file for the duration of the work and by the rule must kept until the job is finished. By meeting these requirements, the hot work permit program ensures a clear record that all safety controls are in place and followed. The permit must confirm compliance with OSHA's fire prevention rules. These are practical precautions to make a hot work area fire safe, and key measures include removing or relocating combustibles, any flammable materials, rags, wood pallets, fuel drums, and others should be moved at least 35 feet away from the hot work. If they cannot be moved, then fire-resistant guards and shields must be placed to confine sparks and heat. In short, don't weld near wood shavings or open cans of solvent. OSHA's rules even say if you cannot either move or guard the combustible, then you cannot perform the welding or cutting at all. Covering floor openings. Check for any holes, cracks, or vents in walls and floors. Sparks can fall through this opening and ignite material below. OSHA requires precautions so that no fuel in hidden place can catch fire, for example, cover or clean out holes. Fire extinguisher and equipment is another requirement. Have suitable fire extinguishing equipment right at hand. OSHA says portable fire extinguishers, buckets of sand, water hoses, or pumps should be ready for instant use. Another requirement is for fire watch. If welding or cutting is done near anything that could start a large fire, a dedicated fire watcher must be posted. According to OSHA, fire watchers shall be required whenever welding or cutting is performed in location where other than a minor fire can develop, such as when combustible are within 35 feet. The fire watch's only job is to watch for and extinguish a spark. They must have extinguishers, stay alert, and be prepared to stop work if a hazard appears. Importantly, an authorized person must be physically inspect the area before hot work is permitted. OSHA explains, before welding is allowed, The area shall be inspected by the individual responsible for authorizing, cutting, and welding operation. That person assigns what precautions are needed and ideally issue a written permit. This ensures someone on site has verified condition. Together, these measures are often written into the permit form itself as a checklist. For example, the permit might list items like area cleared of combustible within 35 feet, flammable liquids, purged or drained, ventilation and atmosphere checked, done, fire watch assigned, hose and on-obstacle exit available, and other. Only when each box is checked, meaning the precaution is done, is the permit signed off for the hard work to start. Know that we covered the requirement for precautions and responsibility. Let's walk through a typical hot work permit process from start to finish. Understanding this workflow helps ensure that every hot work activity is planned, authorized, executed, and closed out safely. The first step is determine the need for hot work. The process begins when maintenance personnel, contractors, or operations staff identify a task that requires welding, cutting, grinding, brazing, or another spark-producing activity. Before proceeding, the team should be considered whether a safer alternative can be used. Methods such as cold cutting, hydraulic tools, mechanical bolting, or other non-spark techniques may eliminate the need for hot work altogether. Eliminating the hazard is always preferable to controlling it. The step 2 is request a hot work permit. If hot work is necessary, the work crew submits a request to the authorized permit issuer. The request should clearly identify the job scope, location, equipment involved, and the expected duration of work. This initiates the formal permit review process. The step 3 is conduct a pre-work inspection. Before any permit is issued, the authorized person must visit the job site and perform a detailed field inspection. This inspection verifies that all hazards have been identified and controlled. Typical checks include confirming the equipment has been isolated and locked out where required, verifying process lines have been drained, depressurized, purged, or inerted, checking that combustible materials have been removed or protected, ensuring floor openings, drains, and penetrations are covered or protected, conducting atmospheric gas testing to verify that no flammable vapors are present, evaluating nearby operations that could introduce additional hazards. This step is critical because conditions in the field, not assumptions made in an office, determine whether hot work can be performed safely. Step 4 is complete the permit form. Once the area has been inspected, the permit is completed. The permit should clearly document the authorized start and end time, the exact work location, the equipment or system involved, the type of hot work being performed, required precautions and control measures. Most permits include a fire prevention checklist to verify that critical safeguards have been implemented before work begins. Typical checklist items include combustible removed or protected within 35 feet, flammable liquids and gases isolated or purged. Atmospheric testing is very critical, completed. Fire extinguishers available, ventilation adequate, access and emergency clear, Fire watch assigned if required. Which items must be verified before the permit can be approved. And step 5 is assign a fire watch. If the job presents a fire risk, a trained fire watch must be assigned. The fire watch name is recorded on the permit, and they are provided with the necessary firefighting equipment, communication device, and instructions. Their responsibility is to continuously monitor the work area and respond immediately if signs of fire or unsafe conditions appear. And the next step, step 6, is issue the permit and conduct a pre-job briefing. After all requirements have been satisfied, the permit issuer sign and authorize the permit. Before work starts, a brief safety discussion is typically held with the work crew, fire watch, and the supervisor. During this meeting, the team reviewed the hazards, control measures, emergency procedures, and the permit limitation to ensure everyone understands their responsibilities. Only after this authorization can be hot work begin. And the next step, step 7, is perform the hot work. The hot work crew then carries out the welding, cutting, or grinding activity exactly as specified in the permit. Throughout the job, both the work crew and the fire watch continuously monitor conditions. If anything changes, such as a gas release, chemical leak, equipment malfunction, unexpected weather condition, or any other unsafe situation, the work must stop immediately and the permit must be re-evaluated. Step 8 is conduct post-work fire monitoring. Completing the weld doesn't mean the hazard is over. After the hot work is finished, the fire watch remains in the area to monitor for smoldering materials, hidden ignition sources, or delayed fires. In many facilities, this monitoring period lasts at least 30 minutes after completion, and in some situations may be extended to 60 minutes or longer depending on the hazard present. This final observation period has prevented countless fires that might otherwise have started after workers left the area. And step 9 is close out the permit. Since the area has cooled and no fire hazards remain, the permit can be formally closed. The responsible person verified that the work is complete, equipment has been secured, temporary control have been removed if appropriate, the area is clean and safe, no hot spots or ignition sources remain, the permit is then signed off as completed. And step 10 is retain the permit documentation. The final step is documentation. OSHA requires the permit to be retained until the work activity has been completed. Many organizations keep permits longer for auditing, incident investigation, compliance verification, and continuous improvement process. These records provide evidence that the work was properly reviewed, authorized, and executed according to established safety procedures.